You just launched.
Yeah, we just launched.
I know.
We have millions of views.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw the first podcast episode, I was like, "What the hell? Where's my feed?"
Well, okay, but you are one of my first interviews with a previous project, which was a lot of fun.
That's right. That was during COVID. Yeah,
It was during COVID, so we did the whole Zoom thing.
Okay.
I hate that. It's so impersonal. It's really different. Like, you guys walked in here and your energies are just
Oh, you
so
can feel it.
fun. And
Yeah. It's definitely a different tone.
the funny thing is we never do a start because
Oh, we're in it.
we're in it.
I like it. Okay. Roll then. We rolling.
Exactly. It's just so much more organic that way. The crazy buzz that you guys have generated. I mean, is it all like the press people that you hire? Is it on you individually to go out there and to do these interviews? How did you guys create all the buzz? Everyone's talking about this movie.
you're asking the right people because Omar right here, you were just telling me about how he on his own was able to get something really cool. Around that. Yeah,
A few of them. And so I'm going to go to the tennis channel and speak to a whole different audience. But I think that Sev would know this way better than me. But what you do is it's a collective and an individual effort. Because with the collective, we have some established people with the film, like Sev, like Ryan, like Mike, obviously, and like Haley. And then you have other players who have connections with stuff that people are interested in. I have a dedicated following. It may not be the biggest following in the world, but they're my people and they're going to come out. And so I tap all of the people on the shoulder and say, hey, yeah, I got something. And they open the doors.
And look, we've been really lucky to be with Warner Brothers. They've been a major believer in this film since before there was anything, and they really put their money and they put their energy towards getting the word out. But to Omar's point, man, like some of the stuff is on us. Like there's a video that came around a couple days ago with Ryan talking about the various aspect ratios of the movie. Have you seen that video? No. It's literally like we
going viral.
It's like Professor Coogler. He's like literally in front of a whiteboard explaining what different film film looks like, basically. Like 8mm versus whatever. And it's like a 10-minute video where honestly, frankly, people should be paying to
he gave away the game. He really gave away the game.
But my point is that was an idea that actually came from Ryan. And it wasn't like some like mastermind idea of like how to get it was just he was like, man, like people actually maybe do not know this information.
Don't know. And they wanted last night, one of my best friends he was saying where he was going to go see it. Oh, and I said, hey, you might want to go to the Vista because that's the rarefied air from the video. He was like, what video? What are you talking about? He'd already had a plan on going to see the film. I sent him the video. He said, and he's from the Bay too. He said, man, blood hella deep. I got some decisions to make.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, exactly.
So it's like the job doesn't end when we wrap production, like we're just constantly working and trying to get the word out, especially nowadays where audience goers have so many options, like it's not just competing against other movies, you're competing against Instagram, podcasts, any number of things that people's attentions goes towards. So it's that much more important to do everything we can.
So that's kind of post-production already. What was the very start of this project for each of you?
Oh, okay. Let me go first.
Yeah,
I really want to hear your perspective, honestly.
All right.
Ryan and I and our good friend Zinzi Coogler, the three of us have a production company called Proximity Media. And I've been working with Ryan and Zinzi since right out of film school. We all worked on a movie together called Fruitvale Station that Ryan wrote and directed. And I produced it, and Zinzi Coogler essentially unofficially produced it. And we've always tried to find ways to work together again. We formed a company called Proximity Media. And this was always going to be a project that Ryan wanted to one day make. And we were never sure when it would be the right time, just with everything, we're all so busy with a lot of projects, a lot of families now. And one dinner around the time of Halloween, October 2023, Ryan laid it out. It was me, Zinzi, and the two women who oversee film and TV in our company. He's like, I want to make this movie. I think I can get a draft in December. I think we can go out to the market in February. I think we can maybe be filming it in April. And I'm thinking, okay, it's October. He says he wants to get a draft in. That's December. That's about, how many months is that? Is that 13, 14 months? I'm like, okay, to get a script in about a year, that's tight, bro. Like, you think you could, and Ryan's an amazing screenwriter, but writing a movie is long. It takes a long time. I'm like, bro, you think you can get this in like 14 months? And he's like, oh no, bro, I meant December in 2 months. And I was like, what? Like, we were all like, wait, is this even possible? And bro, to his credit, he turned in a draft. It was like just right before Christmas Eve. It blew my mind. And I do think part of it is he's always been obviously a very gifted writer, but this movie is the most personal movie Ryan might ever make. And I think that for that reason, the words flew out of his body. I think it's always been inside of him this whole time. and it was brilliant. And right away we had to get off to the race and get the money sorted out and find studios. And then of course the most important part was finding the right talent, finding the right actors. And that's where you came in.
Oh, so for me, really, mine starts in a weird way in 2008. And in 2008, I guess you guys were probably in school together. And in 2008, I did a film. I did 2 movies, and one of them got some acclaim. Neither one of them made any money, but they got good critical acclaim. And one of them was with Spike Lee. And we shot this film called Miracle of St. Anna in Italy. And it centers around this soldier who ends up lost from his battalion with this little boy, and he protects this little boy, and it's like a magical relationship. And after that, I received a Rising Star Award. I got put in the New York Times as the new person to watch, blah blah blah. And for the local Pan-African Film Festival, which is one of my favorite film festivals, they gave me a Rising Star Award, the Canada Lee Award. That night, I was there with my mom and my brother, and as people are apt to do, somebody came up to me and was like, man, I love your stuff. One of these days I'm going to work with you, man. I was like, yeah, dope. Let's do it. Blah, blah, blah. Everybody gave him a couple little pieces of advice, but I was definitely encouraging. Then I got the phone call that he wanted me to come in and audition for something. I was like, oh, look at that. That's the dude. I remember because by then, cut to 16, 17, 18 years later, he had become the guy. And so I got the word on this audition, and I was like, yeah, all right, I'll go check it out. I got a lot of respect for this young man, so I'll go do it. So I go in, and it was amazing because the first thing he did was apologize for asking me to read, which was hilarious because I was like, listen, I'm not, when it comes to auditioning and stuff, you got to go light on the ego with that because it's not about that. So you have to let that go. But he apologized and he was like, yo, man, I wrote this with you in mind. I wrote this for you. And we had a good audition. I didn't get to read the script until a little after the audition. And next thing I know, about a year ago from now, I was in a car heading to New Orleans to sweat my ass off to go make a movie with this dude.
You know, what's so fascinating about this to me is that this is like a long time coming. The project may not be old, right? But like the fact that you guys went to school together, he already talked to you so many years ago, and it's like all of these things just come where your paths finally cross in the perfect way. So first, I want to break it down further. What does it mean that you produced the film? For people who don't really understand what that means, what do you do as a producer?
Oh man, that question, it's a good question. I think some people have this misconception that producers pay for the movie. Like we're the money bags. And maybe 20 years ago that would have been the case. I wish I was producing back then. But in reality, producer, I guess I'm what you would call a creative producer, and a lot of the same things you often think about a director, like coming up with ideas and strategizing how to execute a scene, and the vision that you're going for, how you're gonna put it together, and how you're gonna work with the studio to market it. All of those things we also do as producers. We're kind of like the director's right hand. An analogy that I feel like is the most accurate I've ever thought about is I feel like a director has a magnifying glass glued to their face. Like their job is so difficult. They have to have that incredible attention to detail at all times. Anytime you're on a movie, in prep, production, post, whatever, like, what color is this shirt supposed to be? And why is that? And the actor's asking, hey, when I say this, what do I really mean? And they just have to have all these answers and really keep so much going at the same time. I think of the producer as a person right next to them where we don't have the magnifying glass. We actually are looking at the whole picture. And it's our job to be there for our partner and, keep them on track as far as what is the collective vision we have. And hey, you're saying X over here, but keep that in mind. And just being like that initial sounding board. We're with them every step of the way, from the inception to all of the steps that you can think of with the movie. And a lot of times, another way to put it is like it's our job to realize their vision at times. They might want to do something. There's rarely enough time or money or any number of resources. It's our job to kind of make the impossible possible.
So, after Black Panther's success, technically he could have worked with anyone, but you guys have this relationship from back in the day. So is that trust a part of why it was so important for you to work on this project together? Because he knew that your visions would align in a certain way. You would protect his vision, his artistic vision for this film.
Yeah, I think that's one way to put it. I do think Ryan, I think he values, so many things in collaborators, but I do think ultimately he's a guy who really goes by his gut. Ethics really matters to Ryan, doing things the right way. trust, loyalty, like all those things come together. And, we've been doing this a long time together now. It's crazy to think about it, but yeah, 2008, you're in school and, we made Fruitvale Station together, and we've always been trying to do things together. But, yeah, I really value that relationship with Ryan. I think what's interesting about him too is you often think about someone like Ryan, who's no doubt, I think, one of the most, once in a generation type of talents we can ever be lucky to work with. He's actually insanely collaborative. Like there's
crazy collaborative.
You know what I'm talking about? And like
crazy collaborative.
The number of times where like we would be on set and Ryan's behind the camera and looking at shots and I'm trying to put out a fire, I'm trying to resolve a problem or whatever as producer, and he'd come up to me upset him and I need you at monitor, like what do you think about this? And hey, should I do X or Y or Z? Like he really wants that input from all of his collaborators, and it's not something you often think about with like an amazing filmmaker.
It's rare.
Mm-hmm.
It's really rare. And the other thing about that is as a collaborator, it then makes you want to run through the wall for him because he values what it is that you're bringing to the table, and that's something that for somebody like myself that means a lot, because I give a lot and I'm apt to give everything I have if I'm gonna go do something, and so with that. I want somebody who at least hears me, or, you know what I mean? It has the time to say, oh, okay, I'm not going to say I have all the answers, but just hear what I'm asking or what I'm offering, which is, I can't say that enough. Dude is dumb collaborative and low on the ego. I mean, you don't get that a lot in Hollywood, which is great. And it speaks to what you were talking about before with the ethical component. One thing I want to say is everybody that's involved with you guys in Proximity, you guys are all solid people. Solid humans. And thank God I'm at the point now where I recently at least, I've been able to come out the house when I feel like it's a work. And you guys are solid. You guys are family people. You guys are ethically sound people. It matters, man. And the more you do this, the longer you do this, the less tolerance you have for nonsense. You know what I mean?
Man, thank you.
No, I really mean that. I mean it.
That's been a common theme with this podcast when art turns into industry. So for you personally, where has there been a time where the two just conflict so much that you had to push back?
Oh, it happens all the time. And that's the thing. You have to pay your bills, and you also recognize that artistically you have to satisfy your artist's soul. And if you don't satisfy that artisan's soul, you're going to be miserable. Doesn't matter how much money you have. And so I've been fortunate, really blessed to be in projects where the art and the commerce come together. And in that, I'm at peace. You know what I mean? I don't have to be the lead of the thing. I don't have to be the tiniest role in the thing, but I like what I'm doing, so I could do it endlessly. That's what happened when the industry changed, like around that same time, around that like 16, 17 year ago mark. The industry changed, and I had been in it for maybe 7 or 8 years at that point, and the industry changed, and the split between television and movies disappeared. And before that, really, you could get rich on TV, but the good actors from the actor side, the good actors were in the movies. Pretty people were on TV. Like beautiful people were on TV, but it wasn't necessarily, it was kind of by the numbers. And I started off my career in movies with the intention to stay and be in the movies. And then things started to change. So I adjusted with it. You know what I mean? And I've been really, really blessed to have a handful of powerful people decide that I'm the person that they want to keep employing. And the public has been right there with me. So that always helps.
So what do you attribute that to? Personality, mindset, work ethic?
Oh, this is a combo platter, without question. But ultimately, I think kind of fitting with the theme of Sinners, it's supernatural. Because for somebody like myself, there's people who have more talent than me. There are people who are better looking than me. There are people who have, they just be positioned better than me. But they're not me. And somehow or another, the people that get to choose keep finding something in me that they want to be around. And I mean, one of the biggest things I know that it's helped me with Ryan, it helped me with Spike Lee, it's helped me with quite a few filmmakers is I used to be an athlete. And athletes, depending on which sport you play, have a real collaborative and team mindset. Because I played baseball, which is a failure sport. And so it's also a team and an individual sport. So you're always looking out for other players. It's called, you even have a play called a sacrifice. That doesn't even exist in other sports. You have a play where you literally, it's titled that you sacrifice your own at bat, your own shine for the greater good of the team. And this is something that I've found has really helped me out in the movie business, because there's going to be times when you don't get along with people. You're on set with people so much for the period that you work with them that you really don't want to be around people you don't like if you can avoid it.
Is there anything you were chasing at the start of your career that you later realized isn't fulfilling to you and you're no longer chasing it?
Wow, that's a great question.
So
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I would say at the beginning of my career, I started acting because I couldn't get in a nightclub. And so, like, it made me really mad. And I was like, all right, I see what it is. and so I actually got in the theater and started to do plays and different stuff. I was a really popular person in college, but popular at the school. And so then when when I was not in school and I went to a nightclub in downtown San Jose, they wouldn't let me in. I wanted to break the windows. I was so angry. And so it really bruised me because I've been a popular kid since I was a kid. And then I started to do theater, and I had this wonderful professor who helped me understand the craft of acting and this, that, and the other. Because prior to that, I didn't even understand that acting was something. I didn't even think that you got into the movies via a craft. I thought somebody like you saw you at the mall and was like, "You're cornbread." Like, it's, you know what I mean? That's how far gone I was. You know how it works. So I would say it's that it was fame, because I thought being famous was going to be something positive. And sometimes it is. It's great for restaurants and like plane tickets and stuff like that. But there's some downsides to it now that the world has changed and we have this 24-hour invasive society. That's not really something that I think anybody should chase like that, because it's for somebody like myself, when I thought I wanted to be famous was at a point when privacy was still cherished. Now we're at a point where privacy is no longer the currency. Everybody wants everything to be transparent. I just ate this sandwich. Ooh, I had some hummus. Ooh, I did this. I did, you know what I mean? And that's just not me. Yeah. My Instagram has more action this past month than it has in like 10 years.
You know what's funny, man? I was with Omar in New York City about a week ago, and we were getting out of a car going to our hotel, and there was, do you remember this? That there was like a group of guys, they might have been from a European country. I wasn't sure. They looked really sad. Like, I don't know if maybe one of them just had their heart broken or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was like one was consoling the other one. It really was. It really did look like that.
This is true, bro. And as we were trying to like, you know, politely walk past them, one of them sees you, bro, and his eyes went huge. Are you Omar? And he was like, would you please sign my, you know, I don't know, did you sign something or take a selfie? I can't remember.
I took a picture with the dude.
Bro. And then as we walked into the hotel, I was looking back through the thing. They were so happy, so on top of the world. Like, your fame that you were not even chasing anymore literally made someone's day.
Oh, that part is cool.
Like,
and that just happened with us in London. There was a kid on the thing, and he was on the red carpet in the fan zone.
Oh, yeah. So
and he was like, hey, man, I got a folder. Do you think if I put this on Instagram, will you see the video? I was like, absolutely. And, you know, when you're at these things, people try to pull you in case you don't want to actually do it. There's people that are like, oh, Sev.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I do it. That's literally why we're there.
Bro, you were getting support. I saw that, man. It's amazing.
Bro, let me tell you I know you didn't ask this, but my biggest challenge in the industry is to have my industry popularity and my pay meet my public popularity. That's my biggest challenge by far.
Hold on, elaborate.
I can't go anywhere on the planet without people recognizing me. Part of it is because I'm a giant, so I can't hide. But a lot of it has to do with the work that I've done. I've been doing this a long time now. And I've had some projects, thank God, that were really popular and very successful.
Which project do you feel like did that, where you're like, okay, that's it. This is like global now. I can't go anywhere without being recognized.
CSI Miami. It's not even close. Which is hilarious, because in the industry, the dirty little secret is when you do shows like that, it's like you're a joke almost. It's a side kind of look. At least it used to be before the industries kind of merged. This is why I was never on TV prior to that. And TV is so powerful. Free TV in particular is so powerful because people come up to you and say absurd things. Hey man, you with my wife every night. You're like, whoa. You know what I mean? And it's like, because literally people go to sleep And it's just on a loop.
Yeah.
I remember I went to Copacabana Beach in Brazil with my friends in 2012 for New Year's. And it was a mob scene because all they did was play CSI Miami on a loop. So then it was like, it's like you hypnotize people. It's a different thing than a film. But that was the thing that really took it over the top. 8 Mile was the thing that started it off because it performed well around the world because of Eminem. Nobody knew who I was. But I had a couple scenes where I stood out. And then CSI Miami, forget about it. And then Ballers was really over the top.
When we were in London, we were talking about your surprising level of fame in Korea.
Oh, yeah.
And wasn't that
yes.
you were at a Glendale restaurant when they came to mind?
Yeah, yes.
What's
yes,
that story?
Yes. So here's another one for you. So the film 8 Mile, there's a photo that went viral in Korea, and it became one of their first and most lasting memes. And even though there's 4 guys in the photo, somehow or another, I'm having a huge belly laugh in the photo. And I became the focus of the photo. In that, I was at the sushi joint. I was at Zano Sushi. Shout out to Zano Sushi. I was at Zano Sushi in Glendale. And the guy that was the apprentice was there. And normally the main chef is the guy that I dealt with. The apprentice guy made my rolls that day. And we always talk baseball. He showed me a picture and he was like, "This is you, right?" I was like, "Yeah, babe, you know that's me." He takes a picture of me with this like 0.2 megapixel phone. It was dumb blurry. I came back a couple weeks later and he was like, "Hey, look at this." And he had put it on Reddit. And apparently there was a whole group of people in Korea that had been looking for me but didn't know who I was. And this meme has become so popular. They call me the damn cool man. And it's like a life is good. It's like a celebration. It's like when Bob Marley's smiling on the poster and you're like, it's that kind of thing. And it has maintained it, like over the years, it maintained as one of their most popular memes. And these little nuggets have happened for me all over the world.
Quick break to thank one of the sponsors of today's episode, MX Motor Lounge and Leasing. I've personally used their services for both leasing and buying a car, and they truly made the whole process seamless. If you're in Los Angeles and looking for a friendly, knowledgeable team to help guide you through your next vehicle purchase, look no further than this award-winning local dealership. Visit MX Motorsports for more information. That's EMEXMOTORS.com.
It's been a crazy ride.
That's so funny because you could strategize, you could have the best publicist, but like this isn't
you can't
something
force
you
it.
can plan.
No, you can't force it. You know, a kid had me sign it in London.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
That is
Oh, a kid had me
hilarious.
sign that photo in London.
Okay, so for someone who would want to follow in your footsteps, what would you say are some practical steps that they can take?
Me?
Yes.
I would say the first thing you got to do is get good. Everybody wants to get famous or popular or be in the movies or TV because they think it's the same thing as making a TikTok video. These are totally different worlds. I'll probably bomb in a TikTok video, you know, but being on set, being funny with your friends is completely different than being funny on set over and over and over again, or even once. So I would say take some theater classes, learn what you're doing, learn how to do it. And then the second thing that I would say, because the way that I did it doesn't really exist anymore. So you need to make stuff. I tell people all the time when I speak to them, the best thing you could do right now would just be to make stuff. You have more technology in your pocket. You're watching this podcast on better technology than people who made films did for decades. That's a crazy, crazy option. And I think people should exercise it because it used to be, as an actor, your goal was to go into a room full of strangers and make them want to hire you. Now, I think the goal is to have the public recognize, grow, and know you, and then Hollywood will come find you. Mm-hmm. To me, I think that's a smarter strategy if I was getting started now.
So in terms of getting a good manager, getting a good agent, is that something where, again, you wait for them to come find you, or do you have to take proactive steps in finding those people that can kind of help push your career in the right direction, maybe?
I think proactivity is always the move. You never want to be reactive. You always want to be proactive. So if you have a way to find an agent or a manager, go ahead and get busy. You always want to tap all the resources that you know, I would say. Mm-hmm. But there are people out there like Sev who have an eye for talent. And it's something that has never failed since the motion picture industry was created. People have an eye for talent, and they find people who are talented, and they find avenues and vehicles for them to showcase their talent. And then in theory, a whole bunch of people make a lot of money from it, and everybody lives happily ever after, or you go become a drug addict and mess up your life. But
Only those two options.
these are the only two options. No, but in theory, that's what happens. I don't know that waiting is ever the key. Make the stuff. The agent will find you. The true star of our movie is somebody who's never acted before in his life. He's the star of the film. And guess what? They found him because he was doing something creative with another creative person who then in turn connected him with the audition process.
What was he doing?
He was singing.
So Omar's talking about Miles Caton, who is he plays our lead character of a sort, Sammy Preacher Boy.
Yeah.
And we needed to find somebody. We actually started casting him before Ryan had even written the script.
Wow.
Just we didn't have time, and we knew we were looking for a young man. Ryan would kind of describe him almost like supernaturally, like I want a young man who could be an amazing actor, who looks like the young man he is, who's got to be an amazing singer, and he's got to be able to play guitar, and I want him to have a voice that's decades older than he looks. I'm like, what? How are we gonna find this?
Wow.
Like I'm like a young man who has an old man's voice. Like, does that even
Wow.
exist? Like,
That's specific.
and we found Miles, and he did not know how to play guitar, which is an issue. And then he taught himself how to play guitar in like no time,
Which is not an issue.
Complicated guitar work too, but we to Omar's point, we did a massive worldwide audition search, like multiple continents, people sending in videos, and it would be like people acting a scene and performing a blues song, and Miles's video was shot so poorly we couldn't even make out his face. It was like he was maybe in his basement, or like there was no lighting, and we were like, wait, who does this guy look like? But it actually helped because we heard his voice, and we were like, wait, what? Did Ryan conjure this man out of nowhere? Because
Come on,
he
man.
literally
The supernatural theme is consistent.
Yes, and it just so happened that he was actually a recommendation, to Omar's point, by the musical artist Her, because Miles for many, many years was traveling with her doing backup vocals for her. So, that obviously got him in contention, but he absolutely earned the role through and through.
Yeah.
Flew him into LA, had him do a chemistry read opposite Mike. We did another chemistry read opposite Jamie, who plays a character who he interacts with quite a bit. And, changed his life. I mean, he's the lead actor in this major movie.
This movie's going to change his life.
But, we were really lucky, man. We had an amazing cast. I mean, and Omar, you, man, like, we put you through the ringer on this one, man.
Oh, man. This is, I'll go as far as to say this is the second hardest movie I've ever had to make.
You're kidding
I had
me.
no idea that this was going to be this difficult to make, in all honesty.
So there's actually movies that are harder to make than ours. That's good to know.
But I had one only because I had to lose 80 pounds to be in the movie.
What?
Yeah, and so
Okay.
that was personally hard. That wasn't
Okay.
You know what I mean? That wasn't.
Then I take back-
the script didn't require. That was on me. I had gotten too big, so
So
that
what
was rough.
was hard about this one?
The process. For one, we're fighting. I mean, New Orleans. We shot in New Orleans in the spring to summer, and New Orleans in the summer in itself is an antagonist. It is hard.
Yeah.
The elements are real.
I don't want to get too technical, but like our
Yeah.
movie takes place mostly in one day.
Yes.
And a lot of exterior work. We shot at this juke joint that we constructed. Shout out to Hannah Beekler, our production designer. She constructed a juke joint essentially in a swamp area.
Yes. And a juke joint, by the way, is basically like an old school Southern club, a blues version of a club, a nightclub.
Exactly. Thanks. And we were told going into that schedule that, it doesn't rain that much here, not during this time period or whatever it was. I don't know if they were just lying to us or we just had bad luck, but it rained
No, they
so
lied to you.
much. Yeah.
They lied to you, dude, so I lied. to
It
you.
rained so much, and when it would rain, our set would become mush. It would all just be completely
Man.
muddy, which hurt continuity because we're trying to tell the story all in one day, and we couldn't get our gear on there because it was dangerous to navigate. And then it also took way too long to dry the mud. And I know I'm talking about something like mud on this podcast, but
It sounds like it's not a big deal, but it's a big deal.
It was like a magnitude of millions and millions of dollars every time it would rain. I mean,
because it was lightning and thunderstorms,
Oh,
and there are
that
union
too.
rules about time when the thunder hits.
Bro, there was a night
Lightning
that we
hit.
spent the entire night in our trailers.
I was in the
hope,
trailer.
Were you in makeup that night?
Yes,
I hope not.
I was in the trailer. And
shoot,
you know
my
what?
bad.
And testament to Ryan. Ryan came over to the trailer, and he came over because I had been there for 8-9 hours, and then when they were finally realized we weren't going to shoot anything, and he came over, he said, "Hey, I'm sorry, bro." And it was so heartfelt. He was so honest. I couldn't say nothing but, all right, man, I'll see you tomorrow. It was like, he was so heartfelt. It was so genuine.
Yeah.
This dude, I just can't get it across enough how much this matters. Ryan Coogler loves film so much. He loves this film, but he loves film. He loves the idea of film and theaters and the concept of the movies. He loves it, and it comes across every single day at work. And that passion is huge. Whatever it is you like to do, if you are passionate about it, man, you can't lose.
Another common theme in the creative world. I mean, it really is just such a different dynamic when people enjoy working together, whether it's music or film, whatever it is. When you really feel like people are having fun doing what they love doing, it's just a different kind of cool. You know, I feel the energy from the two of you that you guys are so excited about the film and you had such a great time making it.
The whole cast and crew was like this, though.
Yeah.
We were all just together in London, and our group chat has been on fire ever since because everybody's like, oh, this might be the last time we're all together. Oh, man, send me the pictures. I saw you take the one picture. Oh, blah, blah, blah. It's been, this is, I'll say something about this film that from my perspective is a huge compliment. In this movie, I believe each and every person that comes on screen. Yeah. That doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah.
I really believe every single person that comes on, I believe them. That is a huge compliment to you and Ryan.
I guarantee you people who watched the movie will agree with that statement. And that honestly, credit to Ryan and to you guys, like the performances are God level on this film. Even the tiniest performances, people who are on screen for just 2 minutes. I mean, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Like it will blow you away when you understand like, oh, this is the craft at its absolute highest level. And
nobody phoned it in.
Well, that's just that one person did. You know what I'm talking about. I'm totally kidding. Nobody did. Nobody phoned it in.
What a jerk.
I gotta say about Ryan, man, like he's so talented, but like the truth of it is, and you've seen this, it's also it's not necessarily natural. He works his butt off.
Yes.
He is the hardest working person I've ever known. I'm talking about like hours. You know, he of course finds time for his family, his kids, his loved ones, but he is otherwise a full-blown workaholic, and he is putting his heart and love and craft into this film and everything he works on. And I think we're going to see the benefit of that when people watch the movie. 100. You can feel, I think, and I hope I'm not too biased, but I do think you watch this film and you could just tell it was made lovingly with every person involved putting all they had into it. And our goal was to really create like an incredible theater-going experience. We wanted to basically give you the impression of being at a Metallica concert and watching this film. You know what I'm talking about? Or a System of a Down concert, even better.
Been to both, love both. Yes.
You rock out.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
In certain ways, it's going to be like going to an NWA concert. Sorry.
Hey, you know what? I mean, who do you really know that only likes one genre of music, though?
Losers.
Right? It's so weird. I mean, it's like such a generic answer to be like, when you get asked, what kind of music do you like, to say everything? But it's kind of true. You can't really.
I only like country music.
Yeah.
Country is one of the only that I'm not a huge fan of.
Well, that's what it is. People are like, I like everything except for country.
Yeah. But there are some country songs I like.
Oh, yeah. And what's great about the music in this movie that our amazing composer, Ludwig Göransson, and his wife and partner, Serena, they do actually have homages to so many different kinds of music. To your point, like, you were probably expecting to get a good amount of blues music, and you definitely will, but you're going to hear some other music you were not expecting that you will end up loving just as much. My dad has been blowing me up ever since the premiere to send him some of the songs.
Oh,
cool.
And I'm like, Dad, I cannot do that. The soundtrack comes out April 18th. April 18th, Sony is dropping our soundtrack.
His own dad, yeah.
I mean, he keeps trying, and I just have to hold out for 2 more days. But it's some of his favorite songs. You wouldn't imagine what it is. Yeah.
So there's this amazing synergy between you guys now, and you're both so kind of evolved in your careers. Did you ever have imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I had it very recently, literally today, every day. I mean, I feel it all the time. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't want to pretend it goes away, at least not for me. I think part of it is what I try and do, what a lot of us try and do in our collaboration team here is to challenge ourselves and not kind of fall into complacency. So that when we're doing projects, we do try and find ways to up the game, and like this movie was a big version of that. We do a lot of stuff with VFX on this movie, with Michael playing 2 versions of himself, and all the other visual effects and the large format film. These are things that we've never done. Movies don't get shot with 65 millimeter film the way we're doing this, and that takes a lot of courage and obviously, of course, planning. And so I deal with imposter syndrome all the time, and my only way to get through it is to just remind myself that like what we're doing is valid and our experiences can contribute. My first real movie was Fruitvale Station that Ryan directed. Before that, I had only made my Armenian movie, which I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And I remember every day on that set, somebody would almost say to me, like, or even to Ryan, like, hey, this is not how movies usually get made. Like, hey, like, we know this is you guys' first movie. You guys are out of film school. Like, real producers do X, Y, Z or whatever. And it wasn't necessarily said, by the way, with any malice. Like, people just trying to help us out. Like, hey, you know.
Okay.
And that deeply gave me that imposter syndrome, which I already felt. Yeah. But what got me out of it was literally, like, finding out time and time again, wait a minute, the way we're going about doing things, it may not be industry standard, but it is getting results.
It's effective.
And over and over and over again now, the last 10 plus years, it's almost become like an anthem for me and for Ryan and for Zinzi, for all of us. Like, if we're doing things and someone's telling us, well, that's not how industry standard is, it almost always means we're probably doing something right. And so we've kind of been able to turn that imposter syndrome into
new.
a strength.
That's a word.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Like,
what are you, crazy? This has been my challenge, like my career, because I'm not a believer. It's strange enough, it goes back to baseball, because if we all go play baseball, the way you swing, the way she swings, and the way I swing will be totally different. But as long as we get the job done to help the team, that's what the point is. And sometimes you run into coaches who try to force you into the way that it's always been done. And that's how you would miss out on a Shohei Ohtani type guy, to be honest, because a guy with that much talent, you can't bottle him. You know what I mean? That's really great, man.
I mean, in an industry, you especially, being an actor, you have to constantly be faced with external validation. You're auditioning, somebody has to approve. How do you deal with rejection and constant criticism in this industry and not let it get to you personally? Or if it does get to you personally, how do you go past it and still keep pushing forward?
I take it the other way. I take everything personal. It's me.
Still.
I take everything personal. I'm an ultra competitive person. And the only reason that I'm even probably still doing this is because my body doesn't allow me to do other stuff that I would rather do that I'm more competitive at. I actually have the reverse. I never have imposter syndrome because my parents were very big. Growing up, my parents grew up how we portrayed the characters in the film. My parents were very serious about you knowing that you're the best. So I never have an issue with thinking anybody can do anything better than me. It's sometimes it works to my detriment because I'm not trying to make it an ego thing, but I believe that I'm resourceful enough that if I put my mind to something and I put my work into something, that I will be on par with anybody out there. That is critical when it comes to acting because you got to let it roll off your back. Because if you have an audition that you want to do and it doesn't end up working out, like a film that you want to do or a show that you want to do, and you're like, no, but I'm right. It says right there, he's 6'5", black dude, salt and pepper hair. I'm the guy. And you don't get it, you got to let that roll off because otherwise you see it. You see people emotionally damaged in the arts that don't get to express their talent, ultimately is what we're talking about. And in a completely subjective industry, which is what we're in, that could make you go crazy if you don't keep an eye on it. So I try to stay grounded. I'm big on the faith. I'm big on my family. And when it doesn't work out, I've had so many scenarios that don't work out where feel blessed afterwards, like, ooh, man, I dodged that one. So that at this point, I don't question it anymore. It's going to work out the way it's supposed to work out. I don't press people. Listen, you want to hire me? Cool. You want to read my stuff? Cool. You don't? It's all love too. Somebody will. So I think the other way that I take the perspective is I watch a lot of stuff and I'm unimpressed with a lot of stuff. So my perspective always is I just watched some garbage that just got made. Somebody wrote a check for that garbage. Why can't they make my garbage? Somebody's going to think my thing is garbage. Somebody's going to be like, oh, they let this dude do that? But why not me? My approach is I'm an optimist. So my approach is always, why not me? Why wouldn't it work out for me? It's supposed to work out for me.
It's so funny because, again, like there's so many common themes with everyone I talk to with this podcast. I feel like there hasn't been a single pessimistic person on this podcast. I mean, there are certain things that I look for as are there common denominators with successful people in different fields. Optimism, I think, is one of them. You can't
Yes.
see the cup as half empty.
No way.
And it's like there are always people who also try to talk you out of your dreams because they have their own limitations, you know, and they're imposing it on you. And so that's why I wanted to have these conversations, because I wish I heard these conversations 20 years ago. Probably would have changed my path a little bit, because I always assumed that successful people have like an extra something, an extra talent, an extra magical thing that
No.
maybe they're born with, you know, but so much of it is actually being okay with failure and picking up and going again, not being afraid to try things and failing, and really just believing that things can work out. Because if you just go, oh, that's impossible, that's never going to work out, which is why it's called but that 1%. Because if there's even a 1% chance that it could work
I love
out,
that, man.
Me too.
then it's not impossible.
The persistence angle is key.
I gotta say, man, like we even with this film, when Ryan laid out like the timeline we were going for, there were people within our ranks who were saying like, this is impossible. And it wasn't said again with any malice, any intention, and it wasn't even, it was like, they weren't saying, oh, it's gonna be really hard or almost impossible. They were actually laying out that it is literally impossible. Like the dates that we are trying to do things, and you know, they often say when you're making a movie, you're kind of like building the tracks as you're going. Like if you think about you being on a train, this case would be building the train as we were going. Like it was because I mean, no, you've done this a long time, bro. You know our schedule, bro. You know when you first got the call to, you know, it was an incredibly ambitious schedule. And I remember what Ryan said, again, shout out Ryan, man. Like he literally said, I'm not disagreeing it's impossible, but can we all hold hands and pretend it's possible until we can't? Until we get to the point that it actually is not possible, let's just keep going. And literally we are 1 or 2 days away from finishing this thing, and if we get there, then he was absolutely right. So to your point, man, that 1% chance, like if you clutch it and you have the right team and you have optimism, which I value that so much in people. Like I, as a producer, you know, like you have to be an optimist because everyone else is going to be the pessimist. You have to be the ones who see the way through. Like that is so amazing. So it's so cool.
And you know what? I try to, one thing that I like, the quote that I like is, if you believe you can or you believe you can't,
Either way, you're right.
you're correct. You're right either way.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
If you believe you
I've
can't,
never
you're
heard
right.
that, man. That's
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah. If you believe you can do it, you're right too.
Yeah, Larry King once said that to me too, and I thought, oh, that was the first time I heard it, and I thought that is freaking brilliant.
It's so good. That's
It
such
is.
a
True,
good quote,
though.
man.
It's true.
Yeah.
Because, and the other thing I wanted, with you adding that piece, I wanted to put out there for your audience, it's not that you always are going to be up. It's not that you're always going to be optimistic. I just think that that's the posture that you have to start from. Because sometimes you're going to be down. You're going to be down in your real life. You know, I'm not a believer. I take a more European approach to the thing. I'm not a live to work guy. I work so I can go off somewhere and do something wild. There's something different that is then in turn actually makes me better at my job because I have more life experience. But in that, even when it goes wrong, ultimately it's going to go the right way. I have to believe that. Otherwise, I can't. This job, it takes too much out of you otherwise.
I really do believe that it's 100% mindset, because there are so many components that you just cannot control. But if you do your part with your optimism and taking proactive steps, like you said, I just think it's and that's actually our pitch, like for the show, that you have to take proactive steps, and only then can that 1% chance appear. And actually, you know, it could be 1% could tip the scale in your favor completely, right? So you guys, I had so much fun talking to you.
Oh,
You're so
excellent.
fun. I would love to have you back. I mean, you bring such a great energy.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
This is great.
I love that we did this together, Omar. 'Cause
Yes.
Yeah.
the fact that I gotta say, man, like I remember when I first met Omar in person, might have been in NOLA at that point, and we already had all these mutual friends.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like shout out Silva. Like we had so many mutual friends, and then after we wrapped, we were like talking about hanging out in LA, and then he took me to a restaurant that I've never been to which is mini kebab.
Oh.
You've been to mini kebab? You know.
No, but I've heard. I've
You
seen
haven't
it
been
on
to mini
Instagram.
kebab
This,
either?
bro, this is what Omar
I've
does,
seen it
bro.
on Instagram.
Man, you need to
Sounds
stop.
good.
Y'all need to stop. And you know what's wild is that to my experience with the Armenian community, you guys are wonderful when it comes to connecting with each other and base support. You know what I mean? And I love that. I love that community component. I remember the first time the very first house I ever bought was in Glendale. And I remember a bunch of people like, man, Glendale, man, you watch out for the Armenians. And I remember I was like, what kind of dumbass comment is that? Armenians are dope. Y'all walk around in tracksuits, chicks are curvy. You guys have got old people walking around late at night with no problems. Y'all at the park playing dominoes and cards. Like, man, you guys are us. Y'all sleep.
Man,
Y'all got a lot in common with us.
You know too much about us, man.
I'm just saying.
But what's crazy is like Omar's like, I gotta take you to this place. Because my mom makes amazing Armenian food.
Yes.
That's where I go. But
Yes.
bro, he introduced me to Armen, his lovely parents, and
Yes.
And what's crazy is like during some of our most down moments on this film in post, every movie's got ups and downs. We're trying to make things happen and deadlines. I would put in a huge order of food, Armenian food at Mini Kebab, thanks to Omar, and I would bring it to our
Thanks to
post-production
Armin.
office, and it was like always a mood booster. It got the whole crew feeling good, feeling high,
Live,
moving on.
Energizer, that grilled
But
meat.
like, it's always funny to me, man. Like Omar introduced me to a whole facet of my Armenian community, man. Like you were Omar showing up at my house, showering my family with like amazing food from his culture. It's been
Which is what?
You just got some of the barbecue sauce.
Oh, that's your family?
Yeah. My brother makes that.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, now you tell me.
Yeah. That's why we
Thank
were laughing
you
about
so
it up front.
much.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
It was
Enjoy.
actually really cool. Somebody was calling my name at the gate and I was like, huh? Who's that? And so it's this WB bag and I'm like looking at it. It's Warner Brothers. I'm taking out all of the hot sauces and like
swag.
t-shirts. Yeah. And I was like, who's that? It's my very first in-studio gift. I was very
that's
excited.
awesome,
so thank
man.
you
Well
guys.
deserved.
And classy. Warner Brothers is all class, I have to say.
That's awesome. So we're doing so many shout outs today. Let's also give a shout out to Roman Mitichan who
No,
introduced
Roman's the best.
us.
You gotta give a
Roman
shout
is
out to
the
Roman.
best. Yes. So because of
100%.
Roman that we
Oh, man,
connected
Roman's
to do
amazing,
this.
bro. You kidding me?
Roman's
I
awesome.
got a funny story I got to tell you guys about Roman off the air. But I got to jump. 'Cause I got to go. I got to be on time.
Thank you guys. So that's like a cliffhanger. We're going to have to shoot that outside and then add it to the
Awesome.
Filmmakers, what if you could cut 90% of your pre-production time and have your first draft ready in just 3 days? Nolan AI is the industry's leading end-to-end pre-production suite, built to collaborate with storytellers, not replace them. Trusted by over 34,000 filmmakers, including directors and film schools, its AI-powered tools empower filmmakers at every stage of pre-production while maintaining your unique vision. To learn more, visit nolanai.app. That's NOLANAI.app. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to follow, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Your support helps this channel grow, allowing us to bring you even more engaging and high-quality content. You can also follow us across all social media platforms. A huge thanks to Torpedo Comics and Essentia Beauty Spa for helping to make this podcast possible. You've probably seen Torpedo Comics in your local malls, but you can also visit them online at torpedocomics.com for an amazing selection of comics and collectibles. As for Essentia Beauty Spa, their beauty experts are truly unparalleled. I trust Diana, the founder, with all of my hair needs. She's simply the best. For more information, visit essentiabeautyspa.com.